Lauren, welcome to Halloween Daily. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you know, it is the most wonderful time of year, and my whole family and I, we just watched our favorite modern masterpiece, Trick or Treat. And we got to see it on the big screen in the theater for the first time. So there's just no better time to be having this conversation as we're recording. We're just over a week away from October 31st itself. So this is an awesome time to be talking to you about Halloween, about Trick or Treat, and everything else you've been up to and have going on. So I can't thank you enough for being here. Um, Before we get into the film and your career, though, if we could talk just a little bit about Halloween itself, because every day
hmm
is Halloween for us, and we always love to hear a little bit about your own origin story through that Halloween lens. So if you could take us back, I believe you're originally from Vancouver.
Yeah.
So did you celebrate Halloween growing up? And if so, what is your earliest memory of Halloween?
Yeah, absolutely. So Halloween is a big to do for me. Always has been, and it's like a tradition that I've carried on with my daughter now. But yeah, like I was born in BC in Vancouver, and I think my earliest like trick-or-treating Halloween memory was probably like 1985, 1986. And I was like a creepy witch with like orange hair and freckles. The one thing that I love and that I've continued to do with my daughter is
Mhm.
we don't do cute. There's no cute. That's not allowed.
I
You
love
can
it.
like my daughter is allowed to be whatever she wants as long as it's dead or covered in blood. Like you can be
Yeah.
a princess, but you're gonna be a dead princess.
Yep.
or
I love it.
and that was the same like growing up. It was very much like Halloween is the time for creepy dead things
Yes.
and to celebrate that. So I was always like, like something very gross and drenched in blood and dead or cut up in some way. And now it's really great. We're the first house on our block that is always decorated first. We're like the house that people
Awesome.
come to because we have the most decorations and people like know that we're the fun, cool Halloween house to come to. My daughter has been planning her Halloween costume, since the beginning of September.
Yes, awesome. I love
um,
it.
so yeah, it's a big deal in our house, which I love. I love so much.
Yeah, well, you know I love hearing that, and yeah, you guys are definitely among like-minded people here at Halloween Daily. That's us too. You know, we're same thing. Our house is all done up, and but I love hearing that, and again, keeping it in the family too. Your daughter, it sounds like she's super hyped for it as well. So
Yeah.
that's awesome to hear. We always try to ask, what is your favorite of all the years from growing up or now as an adult, your favorite Halloween costume that you've ever worn and your favorite Halloween candy?
Oh, okay. I think my favorite Halloween costume. I was Marilyn Manson one year, and it just like I really knocked it out of the park. I gotta say, I really did. I went all out, and it was
Nice.
it was pretty epic. So that was probably one of my favorite ones. And then my favorite Halloween candy, besides the like getting that one house that always has like the big candy bars. Um, I'm a Twix girl. I'm a
Yeah.
Twix girl, you can't go wrong with a Twix. So
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
And it's always kind of a two for one deal too. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
love that. Awesome. Definitely good picks.
Nice. Nice. I'm glad you approve.
Yeah. I like both of those for sure.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, so you guys obviously you go big on Halloween just like we do, and now you know being a part of this film. Was did you see in your creativity as a kid and looking forward to Halloween and always wanting to go scary? I love that aspect too. But do you see a correlation into performance and wanting to act? Because sometimes we have these conversations with actors and just creatives and we kind of see a parallel that yes, some of that excitement and getting the mind creative started at a young age around Halloween time, getting into
Yeah.
thinking about the costumes and stuff. Do you see any correlation there?
I think it must, right? Like that definitely makes sense. The
Yeah.
idea of getting, to dress up and take on this other character and become someone
Hmm.
else for a night, and really like honoring that and cherishing that and looking forward to it and like
Yeah.
getting into it on that level. I think it's definitely part of like wanting to be a performer and wanting to escape and be someone else for a night. Um, so yeah, like it definitely makes sense to me, the idea of like wanting to play dress up. Which for me, yeah, growing up, I wanted Halloween to be once a month. So it makes sense, right? I wanted
Yes.
to play dress up and get to be
Sure.
someone else as often as possible.
And so now in that way, in that sense, every day is Halloween
And
for
now every
you.
day is
You
Halloween.
you've achieved
Exactly.
it. Halloween
That's
daily.
right.
I
That's
love it.
right.
I love it. What was the moment, or can you isolate a moment where the spark was lit that really got you into your mind that you knew you wanted to act? Was there a specific moment, or was it a gradual thing? When did that start for you?
This movie.
I love it.
Yeah, Labyrinth.
Another classic.
A Labyrinth, and I was like, yeah, 6 or something like that, 1986, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this world? What is this? Who are these people that get to do this in this make believe land?
Yeah.
And Jim Henson's mind just blew me away, and I wanted to just whatever that meant. I didn't even really know what it meant at the time, but I was just like, I want to do that. I want to do whatever they're doing. And yeah, like for me, it wasn't, it came a little bit later, like all of the, the incredible films that shape us as actors. But like for
Hmm.
me, it was genuinely David Bowie and Jim Henson that sort of sparked that desire in me to want to do this.
Oh, that is so cool. And again, another classic, another timeless masterpiece there that
Right? Yeah.
yeah, I love that. Well, yeah, nothing wrong with that to be sparked by those two masters of their genres.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And then let's fast forward a little bit now, because I know Trick or Treat was not your first acting experience by any means, but um, can you walk us through what you remember of your first, like the project coming to you, the getting the role of Danielle, and just your thought process as that was
Yeah.
all happening?
Yeah, it was really interesting because I was in Vancouver at the time. And I just, received like we always did in Vancouver, like you got an audition,
Hmm.
and I received just a couple of pages, some sides, and essentially all it said was like Halloween party girl. And so I did the audition, and that's all
Hmm.
I knew to sort of like, okay, I'm just like kind of a tipsy girl on Halloween night. I had no idea. I got called back in to do a callback, and it was the same thing. I had no information about the project whatsoever.
Hmm.
Um, and then I found out I got the job, and I was like, oh, amazing. This is so cool. Got work is great. Still had no idea what the film was about, who was
Hmm.
involved, anything. So cut to a couple of weeks later, and I'm at my first costume fitting,
Hmm.
and the costume designer is explaining to me how I'm going to be dressed up as Cinderella. And I
Hmm.
was like, oh, that's cool. Okay. And then she's telling me about all the cutaways that they're going to have to build for when I morph into a
Hmm.
werewolf. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I still had no idea. So that was the first time that I understood what my character was
Oh,
and what I
wow.
would be playing in the film. And until that moment, I had no idea, which was really funny. So I remember leaving that costume fitting and like calling my agent, going like, when do you think we'll be able to get a script? Because I would love to know what exactly is going on here.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, yeah, we got the script sent to us. But I think they were just trying to keep everything under wraps, and keep it sort of as secretive as possible. And then I read the script and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, well, this is so, so fun.
Hmm.
And then I, found out that Brian Cox was going to be in the movie, and that I got my sister was going to be Anna Paquin, and I was
Hmm.
just like mind blown. I had no idea the magnitude of this movie, that Michael Dougherty was going to be directing. So it was really like it was one of those like little gifts that you receive, and then it just keeps getting better and better and
Yeah.
better. You're like, wow, okay, this is incredible. And when we were making the movie, I don't think any of us, really, I mean, it's so wild, right? When you do something
Yeah.
and then like so many years later, it has a
Hmm.
resurgence. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I remember going to Spirit of Halloween with my daughter like several years ago
Hmm.
and seeing all of the trick or treat,
Yeah.
everything. And I was just like, I had no idea. I had no idea at that point that it had this huge resurgence, and that people were rewatching it and loving it and talking about it. And I was like, wow, okay, this is pretty cool.
Oh man. Well, yeah, I love hearing that. And like you said, it has become just such a big part of Halloween for people like myself and so many other people over these years. And you couldn't have known at the time, even with that stacked cast, like you said, and all the talent behind it, I imagine that nobody could have known at the time what it was going to become, and kind of that lightning in the bottle that they talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, it's so cool, right? When that happens. And I
Yeah.
don't think, I mean, I think we all knew, oh, this is going to be something really special and this is going to
Yeah.
be really cool. I remember like when the day that we had all of the animatronics on set and they were putting the contacts in our eyes, and they were literally playing the Marilyn Manson song, and we were doing the whole thing, and it was just like, whoa, this is going to be really cool. But you never know, right? Like you just have no idea how it's going to turn out or how it's going to be received. Um, and also because I think the movie was done in so many different like little vignettes, right? So
Yeah.
you're sort of just in your own little bubble doing your own little version, and um, seeing it all together for the first time was so cool. Yeah.
Well, and I guess when you got the script, you were able to see how it would all fit together and the other stories. But I guess shooting, you probably weren't around any of the other stories when they were shooting.
No,
You were there
no.
just for your story. And did they shoot it in order, or did you shoot like the costume shop scene where we meet you guys first, or was it
We
the
did.
party scene?
We did. I believe we shot the costume scene
Okay.
first, which was great. But it definitely wasn't in order. It was over the course of, a month or two shooting, I remember. And we would go in, have a couple of days, and then we'd be on location somewhere else a few weeks later. And then a few
Hmm.
weeks later, it would be in the studio. So yeah, but I do think that I think the costume shop was actually the first scene that we shot. And then they saved all of the werewolf transformation stuff, that was towards the end of shooting.
Now, what else can you tell us about that scene? Because again, I mean, like you said, you're morphing, and it's become like an iconic scene in the film.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so many great ones, but I love it every time. And you said they were actually playing the song that ultimately would be
yeah.
used in the movie on set while you guys were doing it. Can you walk us through more of that? Because I love hearing about that, and how much of like prosthetics and makeup and all that did you guys have to work with?
Yeah, it was a pretty intense process. One of the things that was really cool that I love and that ended up in the movie is that they took my actual tattoo, which I had on my back, and they used that to sort of showcase, my portion of the
Hmm.
transformation. But it was super involved. Like it was an intense few days that we were in the studio because there were
Yeah.
so many moving parts. But I remember walking on to the set for the first time, and this whole forest set was in this studio with like all of the fog machines and so many background performers, and
Hmm.
everyone was just so in it and so committed.
Yeah.
And it just like it created this environment, really, that was so sort of authentic to this moment. But then on the other side of it, it was pretty crazy because we had to have these contacts put in that were so big that they would have someone come, put them in, and then you couldn't really blink. So you would have to have, each person would have to have someone next to them putting eye drops in, just to make it somewhat comfortable. So we couldn't really see that well for the moments that there was close-ups of faces. It was kind of like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then you'd sort of do a piece of the scene, and you'd see the animatronics working, and then they'd get the actors to come in and sort of take over. But I do remember towards the end doing, several takes of just running through the whole song, and the cameraman just sort of like circling us and just like dancing and having these very, well choreographed moments that we all were supposed to be ripping certain pieces off. And it was very involved and very like choreographed amazingly. But those, I think, were my favorite moments, because you could just really, like, for that whole 2.5 minutes or whatever, just be in it and be looking around and feeling like you were so sort of in the middle of this forest surrounded by these, crazy werewolf chicks.
Yeah, and it's just totally, one of the best twists and reveals in the film, and it just comes at just the right time, and the way it slowly unfolds, I mean, because you don't even think that's it quite until it really goes.
Like the first moment is just like, wait, what?
So and then all of a sudden it's like they're not just taking off their coat, they're like taking off everything, taking off their skin, and the fact that, again, you guys were dressed as these classic kind of princesses and fairy tale characters, and Red Riding Hood, a damsel in distress, and then it becomes, you guys are the predators. I just love the irony every time. It never gets old to watch it. The irony that, and of course, Principal Wilkins there, thinks he's a predator, and even though he might have followed the rules of Halloween over here,
that's right.
Later on that night, he's breaking other rules.
No.
And was that must have been surreal for you to see, like, basically the animatronic version of you in full wolf form?
Yeah, it was crazy seeing the animatronic version with like the Cinderella dress and like the little crown. It was just like, oh my God, this was before, like, I think I had a BlackBerry at the time, but I wish I had more pictures. Like, I have a few, but I was like, oh man, I wish I would have had some like video or more behind the scenes photos of this, because what a cool once in a lifetime, opportunity. My daughter is, she's 9, and she's been begging to watch Trick or Treat now for a few years. And we're getting there. She's not quite there yet, but she is still, like, we had this conversation at the dinner table yesterday. Please, I'm old enough. I can handle it. I can watch it. I know I can. I've seen the trailer already. So, but yeah, I'm really excited to get to show her one day too, because I think she's it's right up her alley.
Oh yeah. Well, it sounds like she's one of us, you're one of us, and so it'll be up her alley and she'll love it. But yeah, that'll have to be a magic moment. You've got to report back to us when that happens. Whatever year and when that happens. Yeah, I can't wait to hear her reaction. Seeing it for the first time. That is so awesome. And I love one of the things, I mean, I love everything about the film, but one of the things I love on rewatchability is, in the first scene where we meet you guys in the costume shop, and the whole conversation, it's basically laying the whole reveal out there. It's spelling it out when you rewatch it. It's like it's right there in front of you, and not really keeping it a secret and just saying. But you had no idea the first time you watched it.
You had no idea. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It just, and I just love that aspect of it, that, it's a totally different take on what you guys are talking about after you've seen the film the first time, and it makes it even funnier that you guys are having this conversation. I was also wondering, when you were shooting, did you see Sam Quinn Lord as, dressed as Sam on set, and did you guys have any thoughts at the time that this character could possibly at some point become what it's become, just like pretty much synonymous with Halloween in such a short time?
Right? I know. No. To answer the question, I didn't get to see any of that when that was shooting.
Okay.
So it was all just,
Yeah.
in my imagination and what
Hmm.
it could be, which, I couldn't even gather a proper picture at the
Yeah.
time, right? So my first experience
Yeah.
was actually at the premiere in LA, the
Okay.
very first
Yeah.
screening, getting to see it. And I remember seeing the first time I saw Sam, and I was like, oh my God, this is so iconic. Like, this is like, this is it.
Yeah.
Because really there was no, other than sort of a description in the script, there was nothing. There was no like drawing or sketch or anything that I had
Wow.
seen up until that point. So yeah, that was pretty cool getting to sort of experience it. And I'm actually really glad that I did get to experience it for the first time, seeing it on the big screen. I think that really, like, it makes for getting to really like have the full experience,
Oh
I think.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. As much as it would have been cool to get to sort of participate and see, be there for some of those scenes and get to watch those actors, I'm really glad that I got to save it and see it with the audience.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I wanted to ask what your reaction was the very first time you ever saw the full film, and you just told us, and so you got to experience it, and your instant reaction was regarding Sam. Well, that's iconic right there. That's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way about the film as a whole, that it would be basically mandatory October viewing for many people over the years?
To be honest, no. And
Yeah,
I think that's probably just because, when you're in something, you don't
yeah.
you don't go, wow, this is going to be. I know that I came away like loving it
Hmm.
and thinking, oh my gosh, I hope this really resonates with an audience, and I hope people, like, love this as much as I do.
Yeah.
But no, I had no idea. I think especially because it was a slow burn. Like, it
Hmm.
didn't have this initial sort of right out of the gates, this is it. This is the next
Exactly.
big Halloween movie. It really sort of took a few years. Um, and then even after the fact, when I kind of thought, oh, okay, well, that was fun. And then it was like at that point that it sort of came back and people were like, no, trick or treat. Trick or
Yeah.
treat's like it's like our Halloween movie. It's what we watch. It's and then seeing like all the merchandise everywhere and the costumes and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is so cool that an audience has refound it and like brought it to where it always should have been, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And again, like you said, it's taken a while and it's still growing. Like every year more
Yeah.
and more people are seeing it. But I always say that I've met people that have never seen it, and I've met people that have seen it and love it, but I haven't met anybody that's seen it and was just like, meh. It's like
It's true.
either
Yeah.
you've seen it and you love it, or maybe you haven't seen it yet. But
Yeah.
which that says a lot for the film. And I do remember that when it came out, it Warner Brothers basically shelved it after some festivals and some select
Yeah.
screenings, and it we couldn't see it, and it was kind of for a few years like a mythological thing because the
Yeah.
trailer had been out. I think the festival trailer had been out, and there had been word of mouth from the people that did go to those early screenings. And it wasn't until 2009 when it came out on
Yeah.
DVD. That's when I saw it for the
Okay.
first time, and
Yeah.
it came out on DVD. And then it was like it started to begin there. I feel like, and then
Yeah.
I don't know what year it was that Spirit Halloween really latched on, and it seems like
Yeah.
ever since then it's just
Yeah.
been going bigger and bigger since then. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you see that, and you see that now it's getting re-released in theaters.
Yeah.
They've done it before, and this year in 2025 they did it in 4K again, and
So cool.
you're seeing all that, and now you're part of this. What is becoming a legacy in just really a relatively short time, but 15, 16 years since coming out, and it's becoming this legacy. I mean, have you thought about the fact that people, like your daughter and her kids might be
Yeah.
watching this one day,
Yeah. Isn't that wild? I
and a
know. It's
whole
crazy.
generation after generation?
Yeah, it could be like their Halloween movie, which is so crazy to
I
think
think
about and
so.
so cool. And I just feel really fortunate to have gotten to shoot the film because it was so much fun. Like, we genuinely just had so much fun shooting it. And the group of girls and I, we really bonded during that time. We hung out in
I was going
Vancouver
to
the
ask
whole
you about
time.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, we had so much fun together. And it was such a just a fun time of life, in general. So to have that experience mixed with the fact that this movie has become what it is just, it's really special, and it really doesn't happen that often. So it's pretty cool that, that I'll be able to get to show my daughter, and then she can start watching it with her friends. And yeah, it's pretty neat to have something like that in your career.
And
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And I love that too, that you'll be able to share it with your daughter, and then, generation. Like I had a blast, sharing it with my son, and he loves it now. And then we all got to go see it on the big screen together. It's like a
Yeah.
family bonding experience. We wore masks from the school bus massacre
Oh,
story.
fun. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Amazing.
we get into it like a lot of people do. And I do think it'll just become an annual thing now, where it'll be re-released in theaters every October, which it should be, in my opinion, as it should
Yeah.
be. Now, you mentioned briefly about working with your co-stars, Anna
Yeah.
and Monica and
Yeah.
Rochelle. Can
Oh,
you talk a little bit more about that? Because I wanted to ask, did you guys get to hang out when you weren't filming, and was that like a bonding experience? Do you keep in touch with any of them today?
we did have so much fun. It was like, I feel like it was like one of those, times in life where we were all just sort of in a similar zone,
Yeah.
in our young uh, adulthood.
Hmm.
And I think Monica and I were both living in Vancouver at the time, and Rochelle and Anna came in from LA. And we would go out, we would go dancing, we would end up at my apartment and be having, drinks and having fun, and just being like crazy, goofy girls at that time. And it was really like, I think that really sort of, it was very much just our characters. We were just our characters during that time. And it was definitely a fun bonding experience. And when we're all connected, like, as you do as the years go on, and then social media happens. So we're all connected through social media.
Hmm.
But I
Hmm.
haven't seen the girls in a long time. I used to run into Monica a lot, but I'm in Toronto now, and she's still in BC. But I know Rochelle is back in Vancouver now shooting Watson, so that's
Hmm.
pretty cool. But yeah, it was just such a great time of life, and I definitely have like fond memories of all of our crazy nights out. Which I don't do anymore. I'm much too old, but at the time it was perfect.
Yeah, somebody, a convention or somebody needs to put together a reunion. We need to
Oh my
get
gosh,
all of
that
you
would be
guys
so fun.
together for a Q&A panel. That would be amazing.
So fun. Yeah. It's funny. People keep saying like, and it's true. Like I've done conventions for other, genres.
Hmm.
But yeah, it would be fun to do conventions for trick or treat. I'm surprised that there's not more, considering, how
Yeah.
popular it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know Quinn, he makes appearances at some.
Yeah.
We actually just a few days ago we went to a convention in Richmond, Virginia,
Oh,
and
fun.
got to see Quinn. And I interviewed him a few years ago, but got to meet him in person, and actually,
Yeah.
have a share the same airspace for a minute, and
So
have a
cool.
conversation, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that needs to happen. That
I
that
think so
reunion.
too. Yeah, I think
That,
so too. Yeah, yeah,
that,
definitely. I remember I got to go to Comic-Con
mhm,
with the only two casts, like actually, I think it was just Brian Cox
mhm.
and Mike and I were there. And that was really cool because I didn't get to work with Brian Cox, but then we got to go to
Yeah.
Comic-Con together and hang out. And that was just like such a surreal, fun moment. But yeah, that was the last time that there was any sort of like trick or treat gathering that I was a part of, at least. But yeah, I agree with you. There should be more of it. Absolutely.
All right, we're putting the word out there.
Get it out there. Come
Somebody's
on.
gonna make it
Yeah,
happen. Somebody's
that's
gonna make it
right.
happen.
That's right.
So, and I think you said it earlier, but the moment that you really realized that this movie had taken on a new life of its own, and I guess it was what you were talking about earlier when you went into the spirit, and the first time you saw that there's a whole section
Yeah.
dedicated
Yeah.
to that movie now.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty surreal because I up until that point I truly had no idea.
Hmm.
And I just happened to go,
Yeah.
with my daughter, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, what the hell is going on? And then I
Hmm.
had to like tell her, I was like, no, no, you don't understand. I'm in this movie. I did this movie. And she was like, sure, mom. But yeah, that was the first sort of experience that I had with that. And then yeah, just sort of over the last few years, like you said, like the screenings every year that are
Hmm.
happening now, and more people reaching out saying how much they love the movie, and it's a movie they watch every year, and they, share it with their families now. It's so cool, right? It's great.
Do you have thoughts on what this appeal is for audiences like me? I mean, you're a horror fan. It sounds like already you're
Yeah.
already into creepy and scary. I mean, do you have thoughts on what it is about Sam, about the film in general, that just keeps us coming back? And like I say, I mean, I feel like it's one of those movies for me personally that it's just got endless rewatchability.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that you know. And seeing it on the big screen, I picked up on certain things I didn't even before. But what do you think about how it's just become such a part of so many people's
Yeah.
Halloween season?
I think, that it all comes from Michael's mind. He's an incredible writer. He created these characters. I
Mm-hmm.
think that there's a nostalgic aspect to it, right? It's really
Yeah,
based on classic themes.
yeah,
Um, and it doesn't really overcomplicate anything, right? It's just
that's
like the
true.
classic, like these are the classic sort of Halloween themes and classic Halloween folklore, and then keeping it in this sort of vignette style, I think really is appealing because, you kind of get a little sneak peek here and then a little sneak peek there, and then it all comes together in the end. And you're like, oh, this was all like happening at the same
Mm-hmm.
time on one night. And I think, yeah, again, Michael just creating these iconic characters and having the sort of vision of of Sam, and that comes from a crazy, wonderful brain that came up with this vision.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, I think we need to see more from him. I think he needs to do a sequel.
Yeah. Well,
That's what I think.
that was going to be my next question. He's been teasing a sequel for
For so
years now.
long, yeah, for
Um,
so
and
long.
of course, there's plenty of characters from the original that didn't die
That's
or
right.
could go on, and we could catch up with them at another point in their lives.
That's
So,
right.
what are
Yeah,
your hopes for and thoughts on the sequel, the inevitable sequel? I'm not going to say possible. I'm going to say
the
it's
inevitable
coming.
sequel.
It's just a matter of when. But what do you hope for that? What are your thoughts? And if you got the call to reprise Danielle, I mean, I think I know the answer, but would you be down to come back?
Oh my God, of course I would. And I want to know what those girls are up to now.
Yeah,
Maybe they all have daughters who are out there. Or maybe
yeah,
they're still just doing their thing, maybe they're
right.
still out there. Yeah, I would love to see a sequel. I would love that more than anything. I would just love to see honestly what Michael comes up with, because
Yeah,
that with his sort of creative crazy mind, there's going to be something really really cool in there, and something I'm sure very cool brewing. But of course it would be amazing to come back in any capacity. And it would be great to see as many familiar faces as
hmm,
possible, I think. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I could see him going like total different cast, but I could also see there's so many threads that he could follow up on
Yeah.
too that he sets up in the first one. So I mean, yeah, I'm excited to see whatever comes of it. But yeah, I know everybody would love to see more of your character and of all of you guys. The
Yeah.
I don't know what the term would be. The Wolf Girls.
The
I don't
wolf
know.
girls,
You
the
guys,
werewolf girls.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
I
Wolf
guess
Girls,
so.
the
Yeah.
Werewolf Girls. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the Party Girls, the Party
Yeah.
Wolves. I don't know. We need a
Yeah. We
we
need to
need a
come
better
up with
name,
like
but
a catchphrase for
we
them. Yeah.
do. Yeah, yeah. The people
Yeah.
will chime in the comments and give us
Oh,
some
good.
suggestions, and we'll
Okay.
see what the most popular one is. So there you go.
There you go.
That's your
Perfect.
assignment if you're watching. Give us some ideas for these. Um, yeah, just a perfect movie. Now I know you've worked on a ton of stuff since then. And but there's one in particular I gotta mention just for a few minutes, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
What was your experience like working on The Shape of Water?
Yeah, that I mean that was pretty epic as well. It was incredible. I was shooting in Montreal a TV show, and I had my daughter who was like 4 months old at the time, and I got a call saying that Guillermo um, has asked if you will come and do this role to play opposite Michael Shannon in this movie, Shape of Water. And I was like, what reality am I living in right now?
Yeah.
I had worked with him quite extensively during the process of casting the strain,
Hmm.
and like through the audition process of that. And I guess he, remembered me, which is like an absolute honor and crazy to even think about. So I drove cross country with my new baby and got to work for a couple of days on The Shape of Water with Michael Shannon and with Guillermo del Toro, which is like such a crazy thing to even say out loud. But it was wonderful. Everyone was so lovely and so kind. And Michael Shannon was just in the zone and but also really like lovely. And Guillermo's probably like the sweetest, most teddy bearish man I've ever met in my life, which I think
Hmm.
that there's that description of him from a lot of people, but
Hmm.
yeah, he was so great. And then also like that's another sort of project where you work on it and you think, wow, I think this is really cool. This is a really interesting script. I wonder how this will be received. And then cut to like a year later and it's winning Best Picture at the Academy Awards. So, it's just pretty cool to get to say that you were a very small part of that. That was definitely a big moment.
And again, just such another just great film, and so cool to see that one, like you said, recognized on the highest level, and
Yeah,
being at its heart still a horror movie. I
yeah,
mean, but really bringing that genre to the forefront. I love that.
yeah,
One of my
yeah,
favorites for sure.
yeah. It was pretty cool. Yeah. Again, also not having any idea of
Hmm.
what it's going to be or how the
Yeah.
creature was going to look or anything. So just sort of using your imagination and then getting to see it put to life. And another, he's just another person that their minds are work on such a different level and capacity, being able to like bring these creatures from their minds and put them on a big screen. I think it's just such a talent. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like when they say visionary, I mean, sometimes, that doesn't apply, but I mean,
it
yeah,
does.
these
Yeah,
guys.
but it does
Some
for them.
people it does. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely another one of my favorites. So, what are some other current, recent, and upcoming projects that you can plug, that you can tell us about, that we can look forward to? I know our audience would love to support and see
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, awesome. I've been working on a TV show called Skymed for the last couple of months. And so we're doing season 4, and it's out on Paramount Plus. I'm not sure when the new season will be out, but that's been really fun. And I get to play a character that I've never played before, which is, I think it's a pretty cool thing to say after doing this for like almost 30 years, still
Hmm.
getting to say, like, it's a character I've never played before, which yeah, it's great, and it's a super lovely cast, and I've been having a lot of fun doing that. And then I had a
And what is
movie.
the name of that one? I'm sorry, what is the name of that one
Oh
again?
yeah, it's called Skymed. Skymed,
Awesome.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then I had a film called Steal Away that premiered at the Toronto Film Festival this year. And it's going to be released, I think, later on this year in theaters. And it's also a very sort of visually interesting, psychological, coming of age, creepy movie. So yeah, that's another thing that I have coming out. I know in Canada later this year, and then in the States, I think early next year. Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Now, if you could, other than Trick or Treat 2,
Hmm.
what would be like your ideal dream project to land in your lap right now? Other than
Oh,
Trick or Treat 2, of course, because I know that'd be
in
number
Trick or Treat
one.
too. Yeah, of
But
course, obviously.
yeah,
Um, oh my gosh, that's such a hard question. Um, I've done like a little bit, but nothing like to the extent of like having to. I'd love to do something like super focused on action where you have to like
yeah,
just get jacked.
yeah.
Like and just absolutely,
Hmm.
kick ass. I think something like that would be really fun. And if it would be a really fun excuse to just have to like physically transform your body into a
Yeah,
machine, for a very short period of time. Um, but yeah, I would love to do something like that. I've always really liked, like sports and fitness and stuff like that and I've always enjoyed doing stunty stuff and fight training and stuff like that, so to have an excuse to really have to immerse yourself in that I think would be really cool to get to do, at least once. I'm sure it's incredibly grueling and your body like hates you afterwards, but I think it would be pretty cool just to do it once.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
would love to see you in that role. So there you go. Again, screenwriters, producers, directors,
come
make it
on.
make it
That's
so.
right. There you go.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I'm sure our audience and your fans would too.
Nice.
So to bring it full circle back around to Halloween, as we're recording this, like I said, it's right before Halloween itself, 2025. Do you have plans for this Halloween, and what does Halloween look like in your house? You mentioned a little bit about your daughter, and she's definitely clearly into it and excited. You mentioned about having the decorations. So do you guys have anything especially planned for this year? And what costumes can we look forward to seeing you guys in?
So we have sort of the tradition every year. We get ready like early here. It'll be on a Friday, right? So after school, I usually like make a big chili in a pumpkin
That's cool.
and have some
That's
people
awesome.
over. And then it's the first year that I'm letting her, we had to compromise because she is obsessed with, as most young girls are, K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh yeah.
So she is going to be a K-pop demon hunter, but the demon portion of the K-pop demon hunter. So I'm like, okay, as long as you're the demon, that's fine. We're good.
Right.
Um,
She's following the rules.
that's right.
Your rules.
Right.
Yes.
I'm gonna do something. I think like, did you see the movie Strange Darling?
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's
I
really
I
good.
heard it's really good. Yeah, I got to
Yeah,
see it.
it's great. So I have like this jumpsuit and I'm gonna do that and
Oh,
bandage my
nice.
head and then just cover myself in blood and be sort of a variation of her at some point in the movie. I won't spoil it for you.
Awesome.
Um,
Awesome.
and then my husband, we usually just my daughter and I, we just yeah, put blood and cuts and whatever all over him, and he just sort of goes along with what we decide that he is going to be. And then we go to the street. There's a street very close to us that kind of shuts down. So it's very much like the trick or treat street where
Yeah.
kids just run all throughout, up and down, back and forth, and all of the houses are decorated, and all of the families are outside, and it's just really fun and great, and it's good for the kids. It's good for the adults, and that's what we do. That's sort of the plan. Lots of trick or treating until you can't possibly fit any more candy in your bag.
Sounds like a plan. It sounds like
Yeah,
a winning plan. Yeah.
yeah.
And then of course you always check your candy after,
Gotta
follow
check
that
your candy.
rule. Of course, you gotta
Gotta
always
check your candy.
check your
Yep,
candy.
gotta check
Um, Obviously it's our favorite time of year and it holds a big place in your heart. So if you could just sum it up, and you've hit on a lot of it already, but just what does Halloween itself mean to you in general?
I mean, as funny as it sounds, for me, it's just about it's tradition, right?
Yeah.
It's family and tradition, and and creating those, like those little things that you do within your family unit, and doing that every year. And I think that's what we look forward to the most. And I know that that's sort of what I loved as a kid, and that's what my daughter enjoys now, is just the routine of it, knowing, getting out the Halloween decorations every year and trying to outdo ourselves from last year with the decorating, and
Yep.
planning what the costumes are going to be, and getting that all ready. And yeah, that's sort of for us, I think, what it comes down to is just the tradition.
I love that answer, and yeah, I couldn't agree more. And Trick or Treat, this movie has
Right.
really become part of tradition for many families, many people, and I'm sure many generations to come. I know I'm passing it down to my kids. You are. So I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, it's going to keep going, I'm sure.
I love
So this probably won't be our last conversation talking
I
about
hope not.
Halloween
Yeah.
and Sam and Trick or Treat. Hopefully next time it'll be maybe talking about the sequel. Um,
Yes, exactly.
let's get
We'll
that
put that out
happening.
there. Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
Well, this has been just awesome. Just having this conversation, getting to learn more about you, and certainly hearing that you are one of us, absolutely, and you were even before
That's
making
right.
Trick or
Yeah.
Treat, and I love hearing all of that too. So this has been really awesome. I can't thank you enough for hanging out and talking to us
Of
today.
course. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for chatting. It's been lovely.
Absolutely, and of course, we're just going to wish you the happiest happy
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah. Happy Halloween to you and your family as well.